Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of IST's Beyond an ITK. My name is Suryak, and today we have with us Srijit Kumar. He was the president of IST from the year 2018 to 2019 and was a territory sales manager at ExxonMobil up to last year. He is currently pursuing his master's in ISB. Let's get to the interview.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself and what you do right now?
Hey, Suryak. Okay, so a bit about myself. I'm Srijit. I'm a 2019 pass out from NITK, mechanical engineer. And the last year, I was the president of IST associated with the club. So post NITK, I did take up a job as a territory manager at ExxonMobil, an oil and gas giant. I'm sure all of you know. I worked at the firm for another 2 years, post which I've now taken another break for academia. I'm moving to ISB to join in for the 2022 class for their MBA program, the postgraduate program for management.
NITK is where your higher education and career journey started. How was your time in college and how has it impacted you throughout your career?
Okay, so about NITK, right? I've always got fond memories of the place because it honestly, when you get out and get into the market, the job market, or when you're going for an internship, you do realize the difference or the extra skill set that NITK provides because of the fact that it's a bit, the course load as well as the way everything is structured, it gives you a lot of opportunity to be creative and get a lot of things done and build on your resume. So I've seen people from NITK, I'm just talking from my perspective of how it helped me in my career journey. First of all, the brand. NITK has a huge brand when it comes to the market, because of which you automatically start at a higher position or in a better place compared to a lot of your peers. And the way that college trains you and the way it tutors you into developing certain skills, it's definitely useful in terms of, not only the base engineering skills, but also time management or managing a position, leadership abilities or managing a team of people to a cross-functional team to get some work done. All skills that you get at NITK. And with respect to career, it's just been 2 years. So I found a lot of skills that I developed holding events, managing assignments and NSIMs to be very useful when it comes to work.
Can you tell us a bit about your role in ExxonMobil and your various objectives and responsibilities?
Yeah, sure. So with respect to the role in ExxonMobil, I'd taken up the role of a territory sales manager. So I was given a particular territory of few South Indian states, and I was handling the sales of mobile industrial lubricants in the said territory. So the role is basically one which is in tune with both sales as well as sales management. That is making sure you're selling, as well as you've got multiple channel partners, and you have to ensure that they're also able to meet the assigned targets. So that is pretty much the role. And the various responsibilities, objectives is to ensure that you're able to maintain a market share, you're able to hit your sales targets, you're able to increase the demand for the product in the market by means of utilizing the various marketing programs that are being developed, and ensuring that they are run at the ground level in the optimal manner. So it's a role that has a lot of management to do. It's got a lot of sales and interaction with your end customers, customer segmentation, marketing, and overall crisis management. Because let's be honest, in a COVID world, every job would entail a certain amount of crisis management.
How has your work experience been so far at ExxonMobil?
Okay, so I'm pretty sure most people would say this because you only have your first for the first time. It's honestly one of the best first jobs that I could have ever asked for, because straight out of college, you're sort of in a bubble because you're basically interacted with just NITK. So when you go out and you start interacting with the market at large, or with a lot of different customers, people from different backgrounds, people in different industries, the sales profile that was granted at ExxonMobil basically gave me an opportunity to talk to all these people and build skills. So I thought I had some interpersonal skills, but they were refined and brought to a whole new level thanks to the job. So, and also EM as a company is, it's a very adaptive company. It's a very innovative company, which gives you a lot of opportunities to further your skills and as well as get into different programs as long as you're able to perform in it and back it up. So it's been a great experience. Help me widen my horizon for sure. Helped me hone a lot of skills. I've gotten a lot of trainings on the job, gotten some absolutely amazing mentors. Through a mix of all this, gave me an ability to understand how sales works, how marketing works, supply chain, good understanding of market segmentation, market research, uh, people management, because I had a team close to 40 people who were reporting to me. So understanding that and how to best work with different sets of people to get the best outcome. So first experience, and the company honestly has amazing work culture. So everything backs up into making you the best tool, best resource in the company.
In what ways did you prepare to get placed as a territory sales manager?
Sorry, and what way I prepared myself? So I wasn't to be honest, completely frank with you, I wasn't really aiming or gunning at this role. I was mainly looking into a role where I could, so I'm a mechanical engineer, and I actually do enjoy mechanical engineering. So I wanted to get into a role where I could bring in some of the mechanical engineering flavor or some of the aspects of it, but also take up a role on the managerial side, because thanks to lots of opportunities in NITK, I could also understand that management was something I really enjoyed. So I was looking for a profile which could meet both a good amount of technical knowledge as well as a good amount of managerial experience. And this one, the job description just fit perfectly. And in what ways have I prepared for it? It's basically a mix of, you need to have good ACADS, because those are your primary credentials as an engineer when you're coming out of NITK. But then again, sorry, yeah. So I'll just use my phone. So firstly, it's ACADS, because ACADS really matter when it comes to most of the job roles. But then also they look at your overall profile with respect to what are the other skills that you bring to the table. So certain companies, especially ExxonMobil, looks a lot into your leadership as well as innovation and integrity. So if you're able to bring in some kind of a leadership expertise in your profile, if you're able to showcase some leadership, some innovation, some management things, it becomes really useful. So I had a profile, luckily, which worked on a lot of those aspects. So I decided to leverage that, as well as my decently good ACADS, to land this role.
How was the entire onboarding process at Exxon? Approximately how long did it take, and what was required from your side?
So the onboarding process takes around 2 months, which is basically giving you a flavor of the different verticals in the company and an understanding, different verticals of the company and an understanding of how different domains within the company perform, how the finance team works, how your supply chain works, how sales works, how marketing works, and so on, so that when you're on the field, you have a complete understanding of the company and you're able to deliver accordingly. Post which, I think many of us were given projects to further hone our skills before we were let out to the market. So the onboarding process might have taken anywhere between 2 to 6 months, but they do train you extensively well and give you mentors in different domains to ensure that even when you're out in the market, you're still learning, because learning never ends.
What's the biggest misconception people have about working in a large multinational company?
Biggest misconception might be the fact that if you work in a large company, especially in the beginning of your beginning of your career, you might be overlooked for certain things because there's a lot of people there, and that you might not be able to bring in any effective change you might not be able to work on what you want. So that actually, I don't think, that's a big misconception, because many of the biggest companies right now are always in a state of constant reinvention, constant innovation, constant change. So even in the first year that I was at ExxonMobil, I was given a lot of opportunities, a lot of mentorship, a lot of insights, and a lot of opportunities to make my own decisions and how I want to go about closing a particular task that's given. So even in an MNC, as long as you're able to gauge and get the right solution and the right framework for getting a solution, you do get a lot of opportunities to work and to innovate, even at a lower level, to take decisions and bring that change that many of us so want to do in our jobs. So even in MNCs, it's possible at the lowest level also to bring a huge change. And it's not like you have to work on a mundane routine cycle.
How did you transform from a mechanical profile to a business-oriented one in college? And what advice would you give someone who plans to do the same?
So over here, I'll just take it on the advice part. So if you want to go into a business-oriented role, you'll need to show certain spikes or certain inclinations for the same. So NITK gives you a lot of opportunities to organize events, to take part in different club activities. Even if it's not club activities, you've got the entrepreneurship development program from my time. You've got engineer, you've got incident, you've got multiple other college-run events which you can take part in to show or to build your skill set when it comes to marketing or brand management or sales or people management, operations. So NITK provides you a lot of these opportunities, and I think it's crucial that you do take them with both your hands and work on them. So if you're going for, if you want to get into a business profile, it's better you do focus a little bit on these opportunities that are plenty in NITK and work on a couple of them. Take up a couple of roles, positions of responsibilities, or roles to better show to the potential employer that you are someone who's inclined towards this and has already started working on building up your skill set. I mean, this is one thing, and definitely your credentials also matter. Credentials in terms of academia, I mean, your CGPA, as well as any kind of projects that you've done. But when it comes to business profile, these kind of roles and innovation, initiatives that you've taken is one of the key differentiators.
What is the ISB's Young Leadership Program, and what gravitated you towards it?
Okay, the ISB YLP, the Young Leaders Program. So, as I said in the earlier part of this video, all what I'm saying right now is basically just my opinion, my humble opinion. It can vary, it's just my opinion over here. So the YLP, so ISB is, I think, currently ranked #1 when it comes to the business schools. It's a highly competitive MBA program. It's a one-year MBA program where you got a cohort of around 900 odd people who are joining in with an average work experience in the range of 4 to 7 years. So the YLP program is basically an opportunity that ISB gives that lets people from a younger, from the lower end of spectrum when it comes to work experience to join into this cohort, to join into and to join into the ISB postgraduate program. So what YLP does is, you guys, it's a program where you can apply in your pre-final year or your final year. So you can apply in your pre-final year or your final year. And when you get in, what happens is that you undergo some kind of mentorship and trainings within a span of the next 2 years or 20 months, when you'll be given some insights about your own industry as well as the overall corporate environment or overall business environment on multiple different aspects, followed by, I think, 2 or 3 meetups which take place in the ISB's Hyderabad or Mohali campus, where you get to meet the cohort as well as some of the faculty and have a better understanding of how an MBA process or an MBA program is, because it's a very transformative affair. And after you complete your, I think, mandated 20 months of work-ix, you can join in for the cohort for the next year. So that is the YLP program. And what gravitated me to it is that, honestly speaking, being a mechanical engineer from NITK, I've understood that my sphere was mainly engineers, and it was kind of limited, and I really wanted to see what's actually there in the world. And when I read about ISB, I've seen that the cohort is extremely diverse in terms, because diversity is one of the factors that they key in when it comes to placement. When it comes to choosing the right candidates. So I'll be joining a cohort which has people joining in from the Army, from the Navy, from the Air Force, from all parts, all different industries, IT, blockchain. There's a person who I think who started a blockchain exchange who's joining the cohort. You got people from different industries, different walks of life, different domains joining in. Not just engineers, but people who've done all sorts of undergrad degrees. So it basically gives you a fresh take at what's out there, a fresh new perspective. And honestly, I felt that if you're able to, at a young age, if you're able to open up and see a lot into different perspectives, have a look, uh, secondary look into different industries, it gets you an advantage that is unparalleled. And I felt ISB has an upper hand when it comes to that because of the diversity of the cohort, which is what graduated me towards ISB, and the YLP program because of all the mentorship that you get on the job for the next 2 years.
How did you prepare for the YLP? And do you have any tips for those who wish to take part in ISB's YLP?
Okay, so the YLP program is something that you can apply for in your pre-final year or your final year. And okay, so the requirements are basically, it'll be asking you for initially the first few rounds will entail a lot of application filling followed by essays. So ISB is, like I mentioned, it's looking for a diversity of cohort, and so it's not exactly academia. They not only look at your CGPA or your GMAT scores. Oh yeah, by the way, you will require a GMAT score or a GRE score to join in for the YLP program. But they also look at your overall profile with respect to what you've actually done. What all clubs, what all say events you have taken part in, what all papers you have written, what all programs that you've conducted, what all sports activities you have gone, say, to a state level or a national level in. So they're basically looking at your overall profile, not just into academia. So with respect to how you prepare for it, you'll have to work on your overall profile, in the sense that if you're good at a sport, try excelling at it. If you're good at, say, you feel you're good at management, hold a position in one of the college clubs or something even higher up, or an NGO. So basically, you'll have to build your profile in terms of all the different spikes in different aspects with respect to organizations, leadership positions, initiatives with respect to sports, academia, to build an overall profile which you can use to get in. So I think the YLP program back when I applied had 3 rounds. The first 2 rounds basically entail a lot of background information and essays, and round 3 basically involves round 3 was, I think, the GMAT score as well as another essay. And finally, you've got an interview. Sorry, missed on that. You've got an in-person interview or an online interview which takes place, where which will be conducted by either professors or alumni from the university, to have a better idea if you are actually going to fit into what ISB wants out of its students, or is looking at when it comes to students. So build your overall profile, get a good score when it comes to GRE, GMAT, keep a pretty good GPA. I'm talking about in the range of 8.5 or above. And if you've got inclinations towards organization or sports or literature or academia or something, just any aspect. If I'm missing out on something, please assume that I'm looking into the overall aspect of a person. Do try to get some kind of spike in that. Some kind of something that you can write in your resume, like that you've led a club, or you've patented. You've got a couple of patents. You have gotten something published. You're a published author or something along these lines.
Now, being a time of immense uncertainty, do you have any words of advice for those who are specifically aiming for a managerial post?
Okay, I might not be the best person to answer this. I'll just explain. I'll just answer it from my previous experience, because I was handling a managerial role when COVID came down on us, and was holding the role for almost 14, 15 months since March. So over there, basically, right now, there's a lot of, the market is extremely dynamic. There's a lot of changes that are happening. Changes that earlier used to take years are now happening in a span of weeks. So right now, when it comes to a managerial role, agility and adaptability is key. You should be able to understand what is happening, what is the trend that is going on, and how to capitalize on that trend, or how to negate the ill effects of that particular trend. You should be very agile. You should be able to, you'll be getting a lot of help from your organization, but you should be able to capitalize on those resources in order to make a change for your team for the better. Be very adaptive, be agile, keep changing based on the changes that you're seeing in the market. the preconceived notions or the gyan that was passed on from earlier would have to keep changing during this period. The fundamentals remain the same, definitely, but you would have to keep changing the way of execution to ensure that you come out on top. And another key aspect is empathy, because right now, I mean, especially for someone who's getting into a managerial post, I know that you've got certain goals and ambitions, and you're looking at getting somewhere or making, for example, if I'm talking to someone from NITK, you want to hold an event and you want to hold it as the best event possible. But you should understand that the people who are working on that event are also people, are human beings, who are also going through a lot. So empathy is the key word when it comes to the market in the last year. You must understand the emotions that people are going through and the different issues that are happening in the background, and be empathetic, help each other, because helping each other is another key word, because we can only get through this if we get through it together. So when it comes to managerial, right now it's agility, adaptability, empathy, and it all comes together and we are one. We can only get through this as one. If you got that mindset, you will do really well at managerial role.
Is there anything else you'd like to add on for those awaiting the placement and internship season?
Okay, so firstly, best of luck, all the very best for the upcoming placement season. I think it starts in, I'm pretty sure, mid of July onwards. So the only advice I can give, because I believe I'm giving a very generic advice to all of you right now, is that for the people who are in the second year coming to third year, who are, I think, doing their first major internship, and the people who are going from pre-final to final, going for the job interviews. What I want you guys to do is just take your resume, or if you don't have a resume, just take a piece of paper and just note down whatever you've got right now. Let it be acads, sports, cultural, leadership, anything, everything under the sun. The patents that you have, if you've got a patent, amazing, good for you. The projects that you've done, course projects even, just jot down everything and anything and everything under the sun, and then start bucketing it in terms of academia, projects concluded, work experience or internships, sports, leadership positions or club activities, and say the languages that you know or the softwares that you know, and anything else that you feel is a major, is something that you want to highlight to a potential employer or a potential internship firm. So what I want you to do is just look at this right now. And then, so you guys, I'm assuming everyone's from NITK, so you guys have access to one of the best information repositories, NITK Placement Gyan. So please take a Placement Gyan and see what are the different companies that come for internships or for placements. What are the kind of people who have gotten in? What are their credentials? What all have they focused at? Or what is the company looking for, because of which they've hired certain people? So that will give you information on what the company or the person sitting on the other side of the table is looking for. So you'll then get the version of an ideal CV, or what it is that the employer wants to see in your curriculum vitae or resume. And now what you've got is your current, where you are at right now, where you want to be, and you'll be able to understand what is the gap. In the next 1-2 months, please do focus on what is that gap. Find out what is that gap and see if you can bridge that in some manner. If it is in terms of, say, some courses that you can take, or some certifications that you can get done, some languages or technical skills that you can learn, get it done in this 1-2 months. But whatever process is being done, do it as a deliberate action by doing your by doing your research, understanding that where you stand right now, what is the gap. Because in the end of the day, we're all science students. We do everything in a scientific manner. First you observe, then you measure, then you quantify or compare, and then you take an action. This is the same process that I want you guys to do, but do it in terms of your resume, because a resume is basically a specification list. If you buy a mobile, you've got a specification list that you get, the screen, the camera, and so on. Your resume is basically a spec list for you. And so think of it in that manner, and you can use it, and you can guide your actions for the next few months to get there. And honestly, chill. don't be too tense, because when you get tense, you tend to make a lot of mistakes when it comes to placements. I think that is information that is 2 months in the future when it comes to interviews and placements and so on. So I'll refrain from talking about that. What the steps you can take right now is what I mentioned in the last 2 minutes. That's the only gyan I would like to give over here.
Wow. Thank you, Srijit, so much for all your advice and insights from your career. We really appreciate this.
Thanks, guys. Thanks a lot for having me.
That brings us to the end of this video. If you guys found this helpful, do hit the like button below. Don't forget to share and subscribe as we explore more opportunities beyond NITK.